What's up, everybody? It's your favorite Dennis Rhadamanthus favorite nerd, and today we are looking at TFC's that, and he is, I don't know, Leozack or something. He's from the Arkose line. He's the third bot that they're putting out, and he's got a good look. We're going to talk about him, but before we do so, he does come with some screw covers. I think they're mainly for the, there, 1 and 2, and then, I don't know where the third one goes. Not exactly sure, but it's obvious the size of these covers that at least those two, or these two rather, go on the other side. This guy's $100. Before we get into this conversation, everyone wants to tell me that, well, they go on eBay or something for $80 later on. Look, I appreciate the information, and I hear that. Okay, I hear you, but I don't want to hear that. All right. I don't talk about the other toys at their prices on the aftermarket or later on down the line. We're talking about what they retail for. That's what most people use as a buying resource. So I hear you. I appreciate the info, but we're just going to talk about what I know for sure, rather than what somebody puts them up for later on online. We got some new lighting in here today. Is it looking good? I feel like it's looking good, but we'll get into it. He has a good look, just like the general display presence of the bot. Like, it's a good look for him. I like that. The Breastmaster, I feel like, adds a lot. I don't like him as much without. He is a bit kibbly. I feel like, we've talked about this before, and I don't know for certain, but I feel like there's some Warbitron things going on here. Like, I feel like maybe the designer's getting paid behind the scenes and licensing, or not licensing rather, but selling off the designs he has for other products to other companies. And I feel like this is one of them because... the whole line, just because it has a Warbitron-y feel. But, maybe I'm wrong. I definitely wouldn't put that past me. It wouldn't be the first time I've been wrong, as most of you know. So, we're going to talk about the Breastmaster. I just want to say that I think he looks better with it than without it. So, we'll take a look at him without it. Not terrible, just a bit more plain. And then we'll talk about the Breastmaster. So, displays himself pretty well. If I don't drop him. Plugs in there to the chest, and then if you rotate these, I think you rotate the whole thing. Maybe it's just this bit here. I'll take a look at the instructions here in a minute, but let me get a tool. And the instructions do have it both pieces rotated towards the back, and then I like to angle them. I think it just gives it a little bit of a cooler look. I use one of my favorite things. The third party gives us these little screwdrivers to get it out. We'll see how he holds it. It's not much of a handle, but he holds it well enough, for a display purpose. I don't think that's going to cause you any grief. So all in all, I think that works. Before we get him into beast mode, the gold paint is done pretty well. It's a little sketchy around the edges, but overall it's pretty clean. The red paint we're going to talk about later, but is brilliant. It's a really, really well applied red, and we'll talk about that a bit later on. Underside's fairly. This is a little loose here, which is also it's not terrible, but it's just a little loose. There's a few things like that with this guy that we're going to talk about. So rotate these here on both sides of this cannon bit. You can fold that cannon in, pull these down, pull the feet down, and you got that fella's backside, so to speak. Rotate these pieces up towards one another. And then rotate these pieces down, bring the paws out, and you got yourself a decent little lion type thing there. Red paint on the eyes looks good. The articulation is just a swivel here and a hinge here. I guess they're all swivels, honestly. And then back at the back knee as well, and then you get there, and you can also get these out to there. So for what it is, it's pretty cool. I've really, for the most part, I've liked what they've done with these little critters. Let's talk about this guy. Head is on a ball joint. It's a little loose. That's another one of those problems that we're kind of having throughout with this set, And we got light piping in the back. Not sure if that's showing up, but it only comes through to those eyes, not to the beast eyes, which is also a reoccurring thing with this set, one that I do not care for, I might add. I think that they should have at least painted them. It would have been really cool if they had the light piping go to both, but you know I'm not a big fan of light piping either way, so I would have been happy if they just painted both. Silver finish on the face, and that looks good. He's got a smirk on there, got a little bit of character, so all that stuff is pretty cool in the gang. For the shoulders, you can have them up here like this. You can also bring them down a bit. You know, they're a little bit of an adjusting, you know, to your preference available there. They're on a hinge here and here, and then a universal joint here, so you can get them out. You can get them. No, it doesn't swivel there. So you can get them out. You can get them up to there, and then you get the full swivel. Not a ratchet on the unit, so that's a bit of a bummer, because not all the pieces move as like with the amount of friction that gives you good feels. Bicep swivel, you got the connectors on the elbows, so that's a bit unsightly, but not the worst thing in the world. Double jointed elbow, get you the full Monty. I like that. I'm gonna start using that more. Wrist swivel. And we got the hands that are articulated with the kind of the open, relaxed look, per usual, and that's cool. Same there. The wings, there's not a lot you can do with this back bit here, but the wings, you can have them up like this, which is kind of per usual, or you can rotate them here if you wanted like a more of a cape look, which I don't think looks bad, but you know me, I'm a sucker for tradition, so we keep it up, so to speak. Waist swivel, you're not going to get the full Monty there, but you get, I think, what's enough to be anatomically correct, so I'm okay with it. Paint. Let's talk about the paint from head to waist. This red that they used is a beautiful thing. They should have given it to us there, but on the front, it's a beautiful thing. Not a lick of paint all the way down here or there. And then we got some black paint on there, which looks pretty good. Darker gray on here, which doesn't look as good, but I appreciate that they took it. I think that maybe it would have been better if they just gave us a darker gray plastic there, only because they can't get up on top, so they got a white piece of plastic, and then the gray is painted on top, and it kind of gives you this, I mean, I'm sure you guys can see it, but this white line, like right up in there specifically. You see it? It's just a little distracting for a guy like me. Waist flaps, they're articulated on hinges here, and you have the gold paint, and that looks good. We got universal joints, friction universals, which you know is not my favorite. For the hips, and get you up to there, so it works well. Out to the side, which works well, but it's not tight. You know, it's not loose, but it's certainly, you know, it's not bad. It's just, you know, at the price, would have been nice for me. But if it's not for you, if you like that, then good news. It's how you want it. Thigh swivel built in there. Works fine. Not a lick of paint on the thighs. Would have liked to have that red up on there and between those lines. I think that would have looked really good, especially with how that red turned out, which is quite nice. We got a single jointed knee getting you 90 degrees, which I think is fine. And then we got this red paint again on top of what looks like turquoise paint, but it might just be plastic, but it has a nice finish to it either way. It's just plastic, but that red paint on there, it really looks good. It's striking. It's good. Black paint down the bottom. All this stuff is plastic breakup, I think, and then that gray is painted. Not bad. You got this. He's fairly kibbly, which they all are, because they're really, I think, going for that combiner aesthetic, and they just trying to make the bots and alt modes work the best they can, which is fine. Toe tilt, both forward and backward. You got this here as a heel spur, and then all this kind of acts as stabilization. And then they got a hinge here, which you know I like, so that you can get that rocker to a really nice angle. Not the full Monty, but a really nice angle. I think I'm overdoing it now. But that's pretty much this fella. There's the three amigos next to each other, and since I've often gotten requests for what he looks like in comparison to other combiners, he's just the slightest bit taller than Scavenger from Generation Toys, and a good head smaller than ToyWorld. So pretty much right in line with most of the Warbitron stuff. All right, money time. Let's start. You know what? Let's start with you guys. Oh, you're gonna love this. So, all right, this piece here opens up. You can wrap the hand in, and then you just close that back up over top. We've never seen it before. It's great. How do you like that, Jennifer Bropez? Put that in there. Close it up. We're good to go here. Let's get the feet squared away. So you open up this this back section here. Just try to get the wings out of your way as you do it. And you want to kind of rock this down. And as you do, oh man, there. As you do, make sure it says nicely snug in there. That tabs into that. Close her up. And then it locks right back in there into the back piece section. So we'll do that on the other side as well. And I do feel like this should open up a bit more. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or whatever. It's still easy enough to do. Ooh, there it is. And then close that up. You want to get both pieces up underneath there and then open that up. Alright, we got it now. Get that in there. Get that in there. Close that piece over top, which will keep it very secure. But it is hard to get cleaned up. So we'll sort it out a bit later. That's how it generally works. But it's just giving me a run for my money right now. All right. Open these up here on the sides. Make sure that your connector peg is out. Rock this whole assembly down. And let's see here. This has got to... Alright. It's got to tab in somehow. I guess that's it. Same on the other side. I'll double check all this stuff. I haven't messed with them yet. I just glanced at the instructions. Open that up here. Fold this up around. Those pieces, grab it there. Make sure all that is as nice and clean as possible. And then open up the chest. Open up the head. Fold this head into it. Close that back up. Get this green piece out of the way. Bring your cockpit up. There's not a lot of wiggle room, but you can get it. You just got to work with it. And then close all that up the best you can. Bring this piece up to latch on. That should lock it in place. Fold your wings down. You got your feet up. Landing gear down. Open this up. Open that up. It gives you a nice little handle to grab onto, which is nice. This feels loose as a goose. Close that back up. Just get your wings sorted. And I'll clean it up here in a second. And there you go. Not bad. Not the prettiest. And I'll see what I can do about getting that clean, but see if I can give you any helpful hints. But that's pretty much it. All right. So I think that's about as good as I'm going to get it. This part here in the back is not completely pushed in. I can't get it. I don't know if anybody else is having that issue, but I'm not. It looks okay, right? Doesn't look terrible underneath, but I'm not sure if it looks. We'll get there. Overall, the silhouette of it is pretty good, and I do like it has really nice matching paint for the light gray, and then the gold looks good. The red canopy here, which does open, looks good. This might be where those screw pieces, maybe they go in all 3 spots. Maybe that's what it is. I bet you that's what it is. But that looks good. The black lines here look good. So all the paint and stuff look great. These tail fins here are on ball pegs, so just be mindful of them. This one's a little looser than this one. Stuff like that. But yeah. I also found out that if you pull this landing gear down to a point where you feel like it might break, it will actually stay put as opposed to rattling around. It's at a weird angle. Not sure if that's... Let's see if I have it the other way. It's not any better. But yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. And then you can put in your breast force guy or whatever, your breast master underneath there. It's not hateful, but it's not. I'm sorry. It's not $100. It's not $80 either. And it's not that I don't like this toy. I actually do. I'm gonna give it a recommend for all you guys getting worried now. But it's just. It doesn't really do much. Do you know what I mean? Like there's not a lot going on here. It's just everything kind of tucks away. I do like the head transformation there, but yeah, I think it's fine. And no one's gonna have this in alt mode anyway, I don't think. But I think even if you did, sitting down even, it's not gonna bother you. It's fairly clean. So it's fine. It's a fine thing. All right, now let's get him into combine mode, and this is where a lot of his saving grace comes, especially for me. So unlock all this stuff. There's one here too. Be careful. This stuff, I just don't feel like there's a lot of forgiveness going on here. So make sure you do everything in this general area quite carefully. That tabs into there. If I do everything right, it will anyway. And then that comes down, and that comes down. Open up this chest section here, lift up the head, turn it around. This is on this whole gray assembly. You want to lift the whole thing up. Bring this whole rocket up here on this hinge and that hinge, double hinge system. Spin it there, open it up, and encapsulate the head. Alright. Let's get the arms sorted. Oh, it got me. Bring this up here. Actually, before you encapsulate, let's make sure that this is, because this can be a bit tricky if you're not watching what you're doing. Rock this up, and you want to make sure that this piece is at an angle so that this will plug into there. So it should look like that, and that's how you want it. It's not tricky. It's just there is a lot of moving pieces, so you want to be cognizant of everything that's going on and make sure that you're setting yourself up for success. And then you can close this, and this will plug into that and that, that and that. And then you can bring the head down, grab it all. And that's pretty good, pretty well engineered. And it's secure, it's very secure. So rotate this part of the shoulder down so that it tabs into there, and then it'll also be held with tension with those two clips, like the other one, like it was in jet mode. All right. Actually, wait, that ain't right, is it? Oh yeah, it is. Bring these up. Try not to get blood on your figure. I would stop ordinarily, but let's continue. I shed blood for you guys. These go up. Those are your connectors right there. And then this whole section, you got to untab it. And the whole back section collapses and folds back onto itself. Like that. And then bring this down, close it back up, both sides. Now, let me wash my hands and we'll take a look at them. At this point, you can make sure that all the wings are collapsed the best you can do, I guess, kind of. And that's him, and I gotta say, this, now I can't speak on how this is all gonna play out, but this is secure. This is a really well-engineered combining piece. This is very, it makes me feel very optimistic. It's reassuring. I feel reassured now. Now, the head, we got the red eyes up there, and the red is a very muted red, but it is there. I would have liked if maybe that was a bit more pronounced, but we'll talk more about this when we get them combined. But all in all, this is smart. Final thoughts wise, negatives, really everything comes down to what you're getting for the price you're getting it for. On our regular retail market. And even if this was $80, I would definitely would feel better, but it's still not great. Here's the problems with this thing for the price point. Not a ratchet on it. Like the young kids say, like, you know, you're ratchet, or you know who's not ratchet? This guy, because there's not one on him. The paint where it is great, but there's not a lot of it, and there's definitely room for this red paint to be accented more. Would have really blown this thing, you know, out about, you know, a lot more. The fit and finish of everything in regard to how it transforms and where everything kind of locks together and stuff isn't the best, but it's not terrible either. It's just, you know, at the price. There's things that don't like stay where you want them to stay all the times, like the shoulders, for instance, are a bit fiddly. In jet mode, all the kind of the way he cleans up underneath isn't the greatest. You know, all those things wouldn't necessarily bother me. It's just at the price point, I kind of feel like, ooh, come on, like I feel like I kind of earned a bit more. You know, at the price point. Lack of paint on the eyes of the beast on the top of the head. Stuff like that. Like just little acts of passion, you know, of pride would have really, you know, made this thing feel a bit more worth the money to me. But don't get me wrong. I do really like this guy. He's definitely my favorite of the set so far. If you like the other two, you'll love him. If you don't like the other two, this is an improvement. The articulation is there. The sculpt is there. The Breastmaster, good to go. The paint where it is applied really well, and it's really clean. The transformations are all relatively intuitive, and the combiner piece, because nobody's really buying these for their individual parts, is definitely one of those things where the purchase is more about the sum of its parts, right? And the combiner piece of this is really inspiring, and it's really reassuring, and it makes me feel better about the whole set. As long as this piece and the waist piece attach well, I'm starting to feel better about how this is all going to turn out. But all in all, though, I do give it the recommend. If it had some ratchets and some more paint and a little bit more love in it, I would have given this thing a crazy score. But as it is, it's a good piece. The thing is that TFC is a big company. Like, I don't want to put anybody's name out there, but people have gotten in touch with me about how big TFC is in regard to the toy industry, you know, especially in China. So I know they have the resources and capabilities to add those things that would make this thing feel a bit more full of love. They could probably do those within the same price point, and it wouldn't be a big deal. But for all those guys that are so savvy about the eBay seller that sells them for $80 a couple weeks later, $80 is definitely much easier to swallow and a good price for this guy. But he's good either way. Be careful with the side, like fur / wing, so to speak, of the side of the lion, the combiner head, because that's definitely what cut me. The side pieces there are very sharp. I bleed so you don't have to. The beloved Uncle Skullface later passed away from complications from an infection caused by Hasbro's lawyer's tears, which apparently all third-party products are soaked in before release. The Skullface family asks that in lieu of flowers, you send donations to third-party research across the world. Rest in peace, Uncle Skullface. We have it from here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.